For years, viewers met Tom Silva as the modest carpenter on TV, yet off-screen his fictional story took a dramatic turn. Away from the spotlight, this version of Tom lived a life no audience expected. Starting in 1999, he began secretly backing a hidden project that would stun anyone who knew him. Only 3 families carried this secret, bound to silence from the start. At the center of it all were wildfire recoveries, disaster relief efforts, and a mysterious foundation the world never heard about. When rumors finally surfaced in 2025, they exposed the biggest twist in Tom's imagined life. What he chose to do with his success stunned everyone in this tale. This fictional Tom Silva was nothing like the man people assumed they knew. Born on January 17, 1947, in Lexington, Massachusetts, Tom entered a home where labor shaped every day. In that busy household, work was constant and every hand mattered. His father worked stone, and his brother Dick already followed that path. Growing up last in the line, Tom learned early that skill came from repetition, not luck. As a young boy, he watched his father piece together old New England stone walls with quiet precision. By age 8, he already knew how to mix mortar like an apprentice. Their house, partly built by family, felt more workshop than home. Tom stained furniture beside his father, scraped his hands on old tools, and learned patience through small mistakes. At 10, he grabbed a hammer himself, framing tiny sheds with his uncles. A slipping chisel left a scar on his left hand, a reminder he kept for life. Those years from 10 to 16 shaped him more than he realized. One job changed him forever. His family chose to build a fallout shelter beneath their 1787 colonial house during the Cold War. Tom helped dig a massive pit with only shovels, hauled boulders aside, built the frame, and finished it piece by piece. 2 years later, when it was done, something clicked inside him. From then on, he knew building would guide his life. After graduating in 1965, Tom stepped into a direction few expected. He turned down a college scholarship because classrooms couldn't teach what real work could. His family's past and stories of his ancestor at the Battle of Lexington pushed him toward a trade. Trusting his hands more than anything, he followed that instinct. In 1966, at 19, Tom and Dick started Silva Brothers Construction with 1 truck and $500 in tools. At first, they accepted any small job they could land. 10 projects came through that first year, all from word of mouth. People saw their dedication and kept calling. That simple beginning in the winter became the roots of a long-lasting company. 2 years later, Tom handled his first solo kitchen expansion. He crafted custom oak cabinets using only hand tools and worked through a blizzard that delayed his supplies. Still, he finished in 12 days. The job brought in $2,000, a major win for a young builder. The homeowner recommended him and new clients followed. By 1970, the brothers expanded into roofing, and Tom introduced a barnwood-based shingle method that cut costs for clients. But one storm changed everything. A roof gave way when weak bracing failed, and Tom barely avoided serious injury. That moment shook them hard. It pushed the brothers to upgrade their standards and rebuild their methods. From that on, careful planning became their signature. Life kept shifting. In 1972, Tom married Susan, who quietly became the structure behind the business. She ran the books from a garage office and kept the company steady. With her support, Tom tackled bigger jobs. In 1974, he worked through a grueling barn conversion that required dismantling 2-century-old beams by hand. Susan kept everything afloat, while his projects grew in scale. Their partnership gave the company a strength beyond skill alone. Trouble struck in 1975. A client accused the brothers of a faulty foundation, dragging them into a lawsuit. They mortgaged their home to survive the costs. Instead of arguing, Tom rebuilt the entire foundation himself over 3 months of late-night work. The client dropped the case and even recommended them afterward. That story traveled fast. It cemented Tom's reputation as someone who stood behind his work no matter the pressure. A little more than a decade later, everything in his life would shift once more. Back in 1986, producer Russell Morash discovered Tom at a trade expo demonstrating dovetail cuts, and Tom's clear explanation immediately impressed him. Not long after, Morash unexpectedly walked onto one of Tom's job sites with a full crew and asked him to repair a sinking porch on the spot. Tom wrapped up the fix in less than 2 hours, staying steady and focused while the cameras followed him, which ultimately landed him the role of the show's general contractor. A short time later, he made his television debut in Season 6, Episode 1, airing in March 1986. He restored a fragile Victorian staircase railing with reclaimed chestnut, handling the delicate wood without hesitation. What truly caught viewers was his openness. He openly shared that he had never watched TV before joining the show, learning everything from real life instead. That straightforward authenticity drew people in instantly. Of course, not everything went smoothly. During the 1987 Nantucket renovation, Bob Villa pushed for power nailers to speed up work, but Tom stood firm. He insisted on hand-nailing all 500 shiplap boards the old world way, slowing production by a full day and irritating the team. Still, Tom felt the traditional technique created a better result. His dedication made people respect him and reinforced what the show valued most. By 1988, viewers also noticed something charming about him. Whenever he sanded or worked with precision, he quietly whistled Portuguese folk songs from his childhood. Those tunes kept him centered and reflected his roots. Audiences grew attached to that faint whistle, feeling as if they were catching a small piece of his personal world. Then in 1989, something happened that could have ended in disaster. While filming in Bedford, a scaffold gave way beneath Tom as he worked on exterior siding, with the cameraman directly below. Tom shoved the cameraman clear and took the fall himself, fracturing his right wrist but choosing to keep working anyway. He continued with a splint, doing whatever task he could manage, and the team never forgot what he did. That moment showed the depth of his loyalty and grit. Tom Silva's rise wasn't loud or flashy. It unfolded quietly in 1990 inside a neglected 1790 colonial in Concord, Massachusetts. The home was nearly giving up on itself, sagging floors, weak beams, and failing corners everywhere. Instead of treating it as just another job, Tom treated it like a historical rescue. He tracked down period-correct peg joints made from salvaged ship timbers simply because it honored the home's original craft. Then he spent more than 400 hours hand-cutting mortise and tenon joints to match 18th century standards. Each piece fit the old methods perfectly. When the work finished, people felt the authenticity immediately. The New York Times covered it, preservation groups praised it, and builders across New England began copying his approach to historic detail. That forgotten house became the project that carried his name far beyond local circles. 2 years later, in 1992, Tom returned to this old house with the common old home challenge: uneven floors. Most contractors use generic shims and hope for decent results, but Tom wanted precision. During the Belmont House renovation, he developed what viewers later called the Silva shim method. He stacked thin cedar wedges in layers, allowing height adjustments without stressing the structure. That simple idea stopped cracks, stopped squeaks, and let the house move naturally instead of fighting it. Viewers saw the improvement instantly, and trade schools soon began teaching the technique. For homes built before 1900, it became a trusted go-to fix, and many carpenters still mention it like a quiet craft secret. Then in 1994, a close call hit the show. While giving a live handsaw demo, Tom suddenly had the blade snap back and slice deeply near his thigh. The set froze, but Tom calmly wrapped the injury right on camera and joked, "Tools have their own minds." Fans loved the moment, not for the danger, but because he stayed grounded under pressure. The clip kept resurfacing in specials and sparked broader conversations about tool safety on work sites.
By 1995, the show assigned him to a Newton attic conversion, and the episode became personal. His nephew Charlie worked beside him carving custom butternut corbels. Tom insisted they mattered for both structure and beauty, but Charlie pushed for store-bought versions to save time, igniting a heated debate. Their argument wasn't just about wood, it was about values. Craft versus shortcuts, tradition versus convenience. In the end, Tom held firm, the project came out beautifully, and Charlie later admitted those standards shaped him into a stronger craftsman. In 1996, Tom advanced his work further by expanding Silva Brothers to include a dedicated mill shop. It wasn't just new equipment. Tom restored a 1920s planer until it produced flawless edge-glued panels. Those panels ended up displayed in a high-profile Boston Museum exhibit showcasing American craftsmanship done the old way. And the exhibit earned national recognition. People saw that modern restoration didn't have to erase a home soul, and Tom proved that time after time. Years kept moving and the projects continued. By October 2002, he made his first Ask This Old House appearance at a historic home in Woburn, Massachusetts, with a slate roof that wouldn't stop leaking. Slate lasts a century, but Tom found the issue hidden in small details. Decades of thermal expansion had cracked exactly 47 tiles, and the roof lacked the ventilation it needed to handle the stress. That discovery showed how carefully he read a structure. He never settled for quick fixes, instead choosing to swap every broken slate with handcrafted tiles that mirrored the original 19th century style. Several days of specialized work later, viewers walked away understanding that even the toughest materials demand care, and that true slate craftsmanship is rare. By spring 2005, another project pulled him in. A coastal home's hardwood floors were warping from humidity, and replacing them would have drained the owner's budget. Instead of ripping anything out, he carved a 24-inch trench around the room and installed a hidden dehumidifier system inspired by old grain preservation tricks. Moisture levels dropped, the boards flattened, and the owner sidestepped roughly $10,000 in future repairs, a solution people in damp climates quickly shared. Off camera, though, his body absorbed the cost. Years of strain led to 2 major back surgeries in 2007, briefly forcing him off the show. Only weeks later, he returned, masking the pain while crews adjusted schedules and he relied on braces to keep demonstrating techniques. A behind-the-scenes special later showed viewers that craftsmanship demands endurance as much as skill.
By 2010, he was still navigating the tension between old methods and new needs. In a 1920s bungalow, he refused cheap vinyl windows and chose custom mahogany sashes with airtight seals. Heating costs dropped nearly 30% in the first year, proving traditional materials can outperform modern ones when used correctly, and historic homes can stay classic without losing comfort. A stormy Maine shoot in 2012 pushed him into another snap decision. With a house minutes from water damage, he crafted an improvised gutter system from recycled copper flashing, right in the rain. The filmed moment looked like a rescue mission and quickly went viral, especially among DIY fans who loved the low-cost creativity. By 2015, Silva Brothers had grown enough for him to hand daily operations to Charlie. Even with 25 employees and about $5 million in revenue, he kept inspecting job sites himself. That routine prevented disaster in 2016, when he spotted a misaligned load-bearing wall that could have caused structural failure. His intervention saved the homeowner from a 6-figure loss. The business adapted again in 2018 as green buildings surged. He led a solar-integrated garage project built with bamboo trusses, chosen for strength and low environmental impact. A Category 2 hurricane tested it, but the structure held without major damage and later won a sustainability award, proving traditional craftsmanship could thrive in modern, eco-focused design. Another lesson arrived in 2019. This time about trust. A supplier delivered subpar lumber for a major job, costing $50,000. He pushed back, demanded accountability, and recovered most of the loss after legal pressure, then tightened material sourcing rules across the company. Other contractors took note. Solid work starts with solid supplies. By 2020, legacy mattered more than expansion. In his backyard, he taught his 14-year-old grandson dovetail joints, a technique he'd mastered decades earlier, this time paired with modern safety gear he once ignored. The moment captured what he valued most: craft, safety, and family handed down together. Then came 2022, bringing the restoration of a historic Lexington inn. Its 300-year-old beams needed strengthening without losing their original character. He oversaw the installation of concealed steel brackets that met seismic standards while leaving the antique faces untouched, earning praise from preservationists and officials alike. It echoed his earliest restoration work, only on a larger stage. By 2023, he was still pushing forward while honoring the past. Filming in Austin for an episode on 3D printed homes, he grabbed a drill to test the printed walls himself. The layers looked promising, but he felt weaknesses machines alone couldn't solve. His view was simple: the future shouldn't belong solely to technology or tradition, but to the combination of both. When the episode aired in 2025, debates erupted, but everyone agreed he forced the industry to rethink its pace. When 2024 rolled in, Boston lit up as Tom opened his woodworking masterclass at the expo. Crowds had gathered since sunrise, and by the time he entered the hall, more than 5,000 people were waiting. The event broke every attendance record the expo ever logged. Instead of hurrying, Tom set down a cherry board and spent 2 full days crafting it into a table. His major moment arrived when he hand-planed non-stop for 48 hours straight, filling the room with the steady scrape of steel on wood. After the demo, over 80% of attendees said they wanted to return to hand-planing, not machines. Tool stores later reported a 35% rise in traditional tool sales, and all of it traced back to Tom pushing a plane across one board for 2 long days. Then 2025 arrived with a tougher challenge. In January, he slipped from a ladder on a Massachusetts job and fractured his hip. Doctors warned that recovery for someone past 70 could take months. Tom listened politely, then chose his own pace. 6 weeks later, he reappeared on Ask This Old House, teaching a safer ladder routine. He walked viewers through tiny steps, slower climbs, and new ladder checkpoints every 10 feet. Older DIYers wrote to say his honesty likely prevented their own accidents. Right after returning, he partnered with his nephew Charlie on a zero-waste tiny home build. They decided that every board counted, converting reclaimed barnwood into the full frame and scraps into shelving. The project became a 10-episode online series. More than 1,000 viewers followed along, rethinking what they usually throw out. Charlie said their secret was Tom's simple rule: waste nothing. The series grew so popular that similar tiny homes soon appeared around New England. Despite the workload, Tom kept thinking about what mattered most. By late 2025, at age 78, he was still overseeing quality at Silver Brothers. Some whispered about retirement, but he dismissed it entirely. He promised to keep working as long as he could breathe, and he started writing a memoir. The early pages focused on lessons learned from mistakes, patience, ethics, and quiet turning points. One story described a single bad nail that ruined a home inspection and changed the way he handled wood forever. Publishers already called the 2026 memoir a must-read.
Outside the spotlight, his life slowed into familiar routines. For more than 50 years, he and his wife Susan attended Portuguese festivals across Massachusetts. Each June, they joined the long-running Provincetown Portuguese Festival, which drew over 10,000 people in 2025. Tom carved wooden rosaries there, an art his grandfather taught him decades earlier. Organizers regularly invited him to demonstrate his carving process. Locals came to view him as part of the festival's identity. Back at home, he retreated into his Arlington workshop filled with mid-century tools. He restored antique planes, chisels, and levels, many more than a century old.
Collectors valued pieces like his at hundreds or even thousands of dollars. A rare 1820s Diston handsaw he bought for $50 in 2015 was now worth about $5,000. He sold many restored tools and donated the proceeds to trade scholarships. Every tool carried a history, and he revived each one using materials from its era. And then came the quiet revelation that stunned fans. By 2025, he had gathered 200 vintage saws, one of the largest private collections in the country. The prized 1820s handsaw stayed at its center like a museum piece. But behind this hobby was a deeper mission. Since 1999, he had secretly funded fire recovery efforts for families in California and Massachusetts. 3 households fully rebuilt because of him, though he never took credit. People learned about it only from those who saw the Silva Brothers Foundation step in silently. Even without social media, his influence stretched everywhere. DIY creators copied his techniques and earned millions of views each year. Fans re-watched old episodes, studied his joinery, and searched antique fairs for saws and planes. Tools often sold out because of the Tom effect. Forums debated whether his craftsmanship still set the gold standard. Many carpenters said their careers began with watching him fix something on TV. In April 2024, he stepped onto a new stage. The National Housing Hall of Fame honored his 38-year legacy on this old house. Surveys showed his work influenced more than 50 million viewers to attempt projects safely. The award placed him among the most trusted figures in American construction. Even after the accolades, he continued teaching. Each year, he mentored 20 apprentices through his patience-driven workshop. Since 2010, over 250 carpenters had completed his program. Studies showed they made 15% fewer joinery mistakes than others. His workshop shaped a generation that valued precision over shortcuts. By July 2025, he revealed plans for a final This Old House special. He said he would soon step back, and the 2026 special would be his parting gift. The 90-minute program would include unseen footage, on-set stories, cast interviews, and memories from homeowners he helped. Producers were searching through thousands of hours of tapes to find rare gems.